whole lot of noise. For our headliner this evening, closing it all out, Caroline Morrison.
Thank you to everyone who is still here. I appreciate it. And I'm actually going to be doing spoken word, and it's my first performance, so thanks for being privy to that. This is called Beauty Math. Hello, I am a girl. By the world's definition, that means I'm not smart enough to do math, and I constantly obsess about how I look. And although I disagree with the stereotype, I guess I must admit I seem to fit it in a few ways. Because I was never a fan of calculus until I had a crush on the teacher, and I was never a fan of the way I looked, and sadly enough, I never learned how to have a crush on myself. These two things, math and beauty, not my strongest subjects. One grade I would receive with a red number scribbled atop in a teacher's "I have 1,000 papers to grade, why don't I get paid more" handwriting, and one I write across my forehead every time I look in the mirror. The first grade I cannot cover up because whiteout doesn't change my report card, and the other I actively erase as I coat myself with makeup to mask what I see. I've never been one for tutoring. I'm the kind of person who likes to be so independent they don't need help. So I'd struggle through math alone, and sitting by myself in my bedroom, I'd look in the mirror and hate and hate and hate. Exponentially, as time went on, my hatred for how I looked increased. The equation of the opinion of my looks was raised to a high degree so that the graph, starting low at childhood and rocketing up once puberty hit, climbed the y-axis higher and higher with an arrow at the end leading to infinity. One thing I always did remember about math: always label your axis. This y-axis was labeled self-hate. Beauty and math, two things I've never had any love for. So imagine how intensely I loathe the idea of beauty math. It may not be something you're familiar with. That monster in my head called self-consciousness made it up a long time ago. It's when you look in the mirror and examine each part of your face, your hair, your body, studying them individually to see if they're attractive or not. Oftentimes, if you go one by one, you think each one is well crafted and pretty, rating each feature like you're finding variables in an equation. You add them up in your head and believe that when every number is accounted for, you'll be equal to a perfect 10. Then you pull back and take everything in as a whole and think, how? How did I get the math so wrong? Because when you look in the mirror and see what stares back at you, it's a negative number. So you go back and study everything again to see where you went wrong, and once again everything adds up, maybe this time to an 8 or a 9, back to the wide shot, and you still see something less than 0. Over and over again, you check your work to see where you could have possibly messed up the addition, until suddenly the plus signs turn into subtraction, and when you look at yourself and see a negative, you say to yourself, I see it now. It wasn't the picture that was wrong the first 20 times, it was the math. That is what I call beauty math. It takes you as the sum of your parts, and so often that calculated and unfeeling number makes you feel worse than when you started, because the beautiful thing about math is that numbers don't lie. So you begin to believe all kinds of negatives about yourself, and suddenly whenever you look at yourself, you aren't a person anymore, worthy of love and beautiful in your own way, but just a math equation, a math problem. It's the kind of thing you suffer alone because everyone else seems to be getting the right answer, and you don't want to look like the idiot who can't figure out why she's not beautiful, why she doesn't look like the girls in the magazines, why she can't love herself the way everyone else does. But what she doesn't know is that there's a classroom full of girls who think they all have to be supermodels to deserve love, a classroom full of girls who have been taught that they have to analyze their looks rather than accept them, a classroom full of girls all staying silent about their own fears that are the exact same as hers, the exact same as mine. It's so horribly silent in that classroom as words are exchanged but nothing is truly said because the girls are so worried about looking wrong that they don't want to say anything about it because then they'd be acting wrong, and it's bad enough when all you have going for you is your personality, right? These girls, the girls just like me, The girls all around the world who've been taught to add and subtract their beauty to define themselves, these girls need to learn that there is so much more than the sum of your parts. Instead of beauty math, we need to be teaching them self-love, to turn those subtraction signs into multiplication, and to relabel that y-axis self-love, and to have that graph shoot off the chart into infinity once again, but this time towards something so good that it fills them with a confidence they didn't know they could have because the world has taken it away from them. Hello, I am a girl. By the world's definition, that means I am not smart enough to do math, and I constantly obsess about how I look. And I strongly disagree with the stereotype, and in my self-education, I have found that I no longer fit it in any ways. Because let me tell you, having a crush on my math teacher got me a 101 in calculus because I wanted to impress him, but that did not mean I didn't earn the grade. And I still obsess over how I look, but it's because I'm trying to make myself fall in love with the image I see in the mirror. Ladies, let's show the world that we can indeed do math, and we absolutely can love ourselves. Let's get rid of beauty math, and instead learn how to write love poems about ourselves.